Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Brian's Two Cents, and welcome back to my Twilight Zone Review Series, the first episode review. So, as I mentioned in my intro video, I have all 156 episodes from the original series on this pretty awesome Blu-ray pack here. Special features galore, and all the episodes, of course. So, of course, we're going to start at the very beginning, Season 1, Episode 1, which is entitled Where Is Everybody? Let me say, Season 1 is really a who's who of episodes. I mean, I think there's like 30 some episodes, and man, it's such a strong Season 1. And I'll get into more of that as I get through the first season and before I move on to Season 2, kind of give a recap of each of the seasons as I go through them. But as far as the individual episode reviews, I'm going to do a rating at the end of each episode between 0 and 5. So if it's a 5 out of 5, it's a perfect episode. If it's 0 out of 5, means it's an awful episode. And then obviously everything in between. So let's just go ahead and get started with Where Is Everybody? Let me pull up my notes here, just so I get the Twilight Zone. Okay, so Where Is Everybody? I'll just kind of give you the premise. This episode aired on October 2nd, 1959, and obviously it's the original pilot episode, the very first episode that aired. And it had a lot of weight on its shoulders because it was an episode that had to sell the series. But basically, it stars Earl Holloman as a man who finds himself totally alone in a small town. Like, he's going to these different places. He goes to a diner and he's asking for eggs and ham and hash browns, and he pours himself a cup of coffee. There's nobody around. And basically, he just kind of goes through all these places within the town trying to find people to talk to. And eventually, his panic escalates into terror as he desperately looks for an explanation of what's going on. Why is he alone in this town? And, he's not quite sure what's going on. Now, so that's basically the premise of this episode. In my opinion, this is a really good episode. Obviously, it sold the series, because if this was not a good episode, there would be no Twilight Zone series. I think the star is obviously Earl Holloman, because you need a really strong performance in sort of a one man act, which is what this episode is. You don't see other performers until the last 5 minutes of this episode, when a certain twist is revealed. But Earl Holloman really does a great job with his physical acting, his emotions that he has to portray, especially as panic sets in. So he is the star of this episode, both literally and figuratively. It's a very moody episode in terms of the atmosphere. That's really enjoyable, and there was never a moment in this episode, even though there is just one person basically in this whole episode, where I was bored by it or not intrigued by it. It does a really good job of kind of making you wonder who this guy is and why he's here and where everybody else is, as the title of the episode would suggest. Where is everybody? I believe this episode was written and directed by Rod Serling, as he did many of the first episodes of this series here. And this episode has a very interesting and unique twist in the last 7 to 8 minutes that's revealed. 5 minutes, actually. What was I going to say? Yeah. But what's the most interesting about this episode, it doesn't have any sort of supernatural element to it. There's not really a lot going on from a supernatural standpoint, which most of the Twilight Zone episodes, of course, would be known for. This episode is very grounded. It does have a really good twist, a very interesting twist, and I believe a twist that holds up today. I mean, it's, I don't want to give. I guess I shouldn't necessarily be afraid of spoilers, considering this episode is over 60 years old, 65 years old, basically. But still, if there's people out there that haven't seen the original Twilight Zones, I don't want to give too many spoilers. But basically, there's a theme in this episode that was true then. It's been true since then, and it's true today, which is basically a need that human beings have, and that's as much as I'll say about it. But I think it plays out really well, and it's a very effective twist, though a grounded episode. And obviously, it worked very well to launch this series as the pilot episode here. I did hear that there were they were going to make this episode a bit darker originally. There was even another episode entitled The Happy Place. And those different scripts would play into other episodes down the road, basically. But for this episode, they didn't want to get too crazy with it because they were trying to sell the series. And so, I think they did. I think they went in the right direction. And I think this is a really solid episode. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. I think, there's not really anything negative to say about it. So then you might wonder, why aren't you giving it a 5 out of 5? Because I just don't think it's quite as memorable as other episodes would be throughout the series. But it is a very good episode that sold the series. And so 4 out of 5 is what I'm going to go ahead and rate this episode, Where Is Everybody? A very strong start to the series. A very strong start to what would be a very strong season, as we'll see as we go through it. But yeah, Where Is Everybody with Earl Holloman? 4 out of 5. Go ahead and comment down below what you guys think of this episode if you've seen it. Try not to give too many spoilers away, but please like this video and subscribe to my channel as well so you don't miss any of my upcoming Twilight Zone episodes. Again, I've got 155 episodes to go to review yet. And then, as I said, I'll talk a little bit about each season as I go through at the end of each season and before the next season. And then I'll ultimately give you my top, I don't know if it's going to be top 10 or 20 episodes of the entire series at the end of the entire review series here. But yeah, that's my review for Where Is Everybody, the episode 1 from season 1. And I hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for more episode reviews. Thank you. Bye.